So a few folks in a group that I'm in have been asking me to make a video about how to make this NUX MG-30 not sound so hissy on the high end or so boomy on the low end or so oversaturated. And I put up a post in the group that I'm in explaining my process, and a couple people asked me to make a video. So I'm going to kind of give you a quick rundown how I tame some of the harshness of this really awesome and affordable unit. So the first thing you want to do, you want to hold down the home button. It'll give you the global settings. Then you want to scroll over to the pre-EQ. And from here, you can adjust a couple different things. Your trim, which is basically your level, your bass, your mid, and your treble. You can see I have the treble cut down a little bit, and that helps substantially. We're going to go ahead and save that even though I didn't change anything. We're going to hold down the home button again. Then we're going to go to output mode. So most of the issues that people are having with this are if they're in like combo front or stack front or even running in the effects return. But for me, I'm running into a Headrush 108. It's a FR speaker. So I run in studio direct mode and I run into that and I run it stereo. I don't have anything hooked up right now because it's not necessary for the sake of this tutorial. So one of the first things that I do is I kill the lows. And you're going to ask me why I do that, because this thing is notoriously treble heavy, kind of hissy. But I kill the lows a little bit because that kind of helps with it being not so boomy. It's weird. It can be good on the low end or even be lacking in the low end and still sound boomy. So I kill that. I don't mess with the mids. I don't mess with the treble. That's really all I mess with in the global settings. So if you're running into an FR speaker, or you're running into like studio monitors, or you're going direct and you're having high-end hiss, oversaturation issues, there's a couple different things you can do. Going back here, you go to pre-EQ. You can back that trim off substantially. A lot of people say to run it at like -10 or somewhere in that ballpark. I don't do that. I just use the volume control on my guitars. I run pretty high output guitars, but I take care of that in my gain settings on my instrument. Or not an instrument, my amp model. So the culprit tends to be the impulse response area is what I found. So right here on this particular patch, I'm running a third-party impulse response. It's an Emperor 612 cabinet that a really good friend of mine who lives down in Indiana, he made this IR for me. So we're going to go ahead and get out of this one. We're going to go to one of my other patches. We'll go to my rectifier patch because this one has a stock IR. It's got the 1960. So I'm just running it stock IR. That's how I got the mic set up for it. So I'm going to go to page 2. Click that number 2 button. Here you can adjust the level, the low cut, and the high cut. So the first thing you want to do is you want to take this high cut and you want to kill it, completely cut it down. That is going to get rid of the hiss. And as far as making the chugs happen, so I'll use the term farty. This thing can get kind of farty, especially running into a studio setting, whether it's monitors or FR speakers. So what I did is I just started playing chugs in drop C, and I just started kind of messing with the low cut until I found the balance of chug without it farting out or being too woofy, too boomy, or whatever. I wanted it to have that attack, that percussive feeling, that chug. I wanted it to have the chug without it farting out, without it being boomy, without it being woofy. I wanted it to be tight and percussive. So that's how I do it. So just to run through it one more time, hold down that IR button. You get to the impulse response screen. You want to get to page 2 right there. So you click button 2. And from here, you can cut out the hiss by turning knob 3, which controls your treble. Turn that bad boy all the way down. You can cut your low wherever you want it. And if you feel like it's too loud, too quiet, you want to cut the input on it a little bit, you can adjust your level. So that's it. If you're having those kind of issues using high gain settings on your NUX MG-30 modeler, go through these steps that I did, and obviously you're going to have to tweak them to your own. And it should cut out the hiss, and it should make your speaker stop farting out, and you should be able to actually make this thing sound way better than it can sound out of the box. This thing has a lot of potential. It's a great unit. It's affordable. I've messed around with the Headrush unit. I've messed around with a couple other ones. And yeah, the other ones, they're pretty badass. But for the price point, when you dive deep into the global functions and the page 2 functions and some of the things here, you can really, really get exactly what you're after with this thing. So there you go. Enjoy.